Okay, Joe here again, and this is actually the second video I'm recording today, so I'm wearing the same thing that I was in the last one. But hey, I did threaten that I was going to make this video. Today I'm going to be talking about the side effects of ECX chemo, and in particular ECX, which is made up from epirubicin, cisplatin, and Zolida, which is also known as capecitabine. Zolida is the old name, but it's still grandfathered in name ECX. We are going to be talking about what it does to your body and what to expect if you have to go through this type of chemotherapy. This is typically used in people who have bowel cancer, stomach cancer, typically digestive tract things, and also apparently they've had the best results with anaplastic thyroid cancer, which is why I've been through it. Now, I guess we're going to be talking a little bit about the side effects and what to expect. So I'm going to start at the beginning. So literally from the moment the needle goes in your arm up till the end of the 3 weeks, because that's how long a cycle is. It's 3 weeks long. So ECX, it's 2 sets of infusions, and then you have 1 lot of tablets that you take for 3 weeks, and that's how that works. We will start at the beginning. You arrive at hospital, you sit there, you have cannula put in, so that's needle goes in your hand, or wrist, they prefer wrist, depends on your veins, which we'll come on to in a minute. Now, needle goes in, they first start off with pre-hydration, they do a flush, and then they hit you with the first one. First thing they hit you with is epirubicin. This is this strange pinkish liquid. Epirubicin will turn your wee pink. Yep, so that's something to bear in mind. Also, epirubicin causes damage to your veins, and that's something that I really suffered with. You probably can't see it, but yes, you can. That vein, is rock solid, and for a while I couldn't straighten my arm any more than this. I couldn't actually straighten it out at all, which was really rough, really painful. I couldn't wipe my own backside, so that was pretty rough. So that's epirubicin. Also, it makes you feel a bit rough. It starts off with that. So they give you epirubicin. It's in these syringes. They give it to you, and you have to have someone sit there with you because this stuff is so bloody poisonous. They have to make sure it goes into your veins and not the surrounding tissue, otherwise it will cause necrosis, which is death to your tissue, which isn't really what you want. You want to make sure it goes to the cancer and it kills it off. Now, that's pretty rough to start off with. That's when you start to feel a little bit rough. Bearing in mind at this point, they have also given you some serious anti-sickness tablets, which we'll come on to in a minute. By now, you shouldn't start feeling sick. You should feel a bit like, meh, whatevs. You know, at least the first time round, you don't know what to expect. Next up, we have a flush. They hit you with this stuff called mannitol. This basically causes your kidney function to increase. So it starts flushing through, because the idea being is that it wants to make sure that nothing sits in your kidneys for too long. So you start needing to pee every 15 minutes, and you pee every 15 minutes. And like I said, bear in mind, it's going to be pink, and it's going to smell weird, because it actually smells like the chemicals. Not great. Next up, you get hit with the cisplatin. Now for me, I had this massive great big bag of it, which not everyone has. Have a litre of it, and it hits you, and that is what makes you feel really rough, well, at least for me, at this point during the day. Bearing in mind you've arrived at 9 o'clock in the morning, you won't be going home until 6 p.m. But this is me, this is my personal experiences, yours may differ. This is really important. Cisplatin goes in, all through the same IV at this point, and you do have to walk around with your IV if you need to go to the toilet. Do take someone with you. You do not want to be doing this on your own. You will not be able to drive to and from, because you will feel so rough at the end. You will not be able to do this on your own. And why should you? So, cisplatin. This stuff causes a weird taste in your mouth. This is where the sickness begins, the grey mouth starts. Grey mouth is a term that we use as cancer sufferers who's had chemo, is a term that we use to describe the change in your sense of taste, and also this really grim taste you have, almost like exhaust fumes. That's for me, and everything tastes wrong. Everything tastes weird, not quite right. It's not super. So yeah, the cisplatin infusion takes a couple of hours, goes in. They also give you post-hydration as well, and again a flush. So post-hydration is saline, flush again, more saline. Then they take out the cannula, and you get to go home, and you're given a pack of tablets. Now in the pack of tablets you will be given multiple different types of anti-sickness. One that I suggest you really ask for is a prepritant or Emend. Ask for it now, before you've even had the chemo. This is really important. This will change your life. If there's anything I can ever recommend, it's that anti-sickness. Because the anti-sickness they give you is ondansetron, domperidone. They also give you a dexamethasone, which is a steroid. We'll come on to that in a minute. We'll talk about the drugs after. So immediately you're going to start feeling tired. This is what happens. You start feeling tired. You're going to feel sick. You're going to feel like your stomach's just churning all the time. You won't know if you're hungry or if you're sick. The best thing for you to really do is have like a slice of bread, some dry toast to start off with, and go from there. Right, side effects. You will never, ever be this tired. Ever. I've always said that I would, as soon as it starts, I'm in bed at 10 o'clock in the evening. I'm waking up at 8, taking some anti-sickness, going back to sleep. Waking up at 10, taking the chemo, going back to sleep. Waking up for lunch, going back to sleep. Wake up for dinner, guess what? Go back to sleep. And that's literally it. And I couldn't have done this without my wife making sure that I ate, because I just wouldn't. And that's the thing, it's just, you can't do that. You have to keep your strength up, so you have to eat, you have to have something coming in. Right, I'm going to focus on side effects. Tiredness, number one. You'll never have been this tired. It will feel like a hangover that you cannot sleep off. That's how it feels like, but not just a normal hangover, more like a hangover where you've drunk 12 bottles of wine, a couple of shots of vodka, and for some reason someone gave you Jaeger bombs at the end of the night. That's what it's like. It is awful. I don't want to put you off, but if you think it's going to be really horrific and it turns out to not be that bad, wicked. That's the thing, you need to know what you're getting into. But it will stop. This sickness and stuff like that will only last for maybe 4 to 5 days. 4 to 5, not 4 to 5. And that's good. You don't want it to keep going on and on and on for that length of time, because you'll feel really rough. It's really important during that time that you try and time your chemo right so that you don't yak it up. I had it once where I did yak it up, and that's a lost dose. You just have to wait until the morning before you can take your others. And when you're taking a capsaicin twice a day, your dose will vary. Again, you'll get told that by the pharmacist. Don't listen to me. I'm just letting you know what I experienced. So, something that they don't tell you, and this is something that is really important. Ondansetron is a very powerful anti-sickness medicine. It does work. Unfortunately, I suffered really badly with the side effects of the being sick and stuff like that, so I had to be put on something a little bit stronger. Now, ondansetron will give you constipation. And we are talking, just so you know, if you don't take something to counteract that, you are looking at 7 days of constipation. Do not wait to take something. As soon as you start taking ondansetron, make sure you are taking senna as well. That is my top piece of advice. Your oncologist will say the same thing as well. Ask them, they will tell you if you're on ondansetron, you need to be taking something else to balance it out. It's rough. The other anti-sickness medication, domperidone, no side effects whatsoever. What it will do is it will leave your stomach feeling a bit like a black hole, because what it does is that it essentially causes everything to drop out of your stomach into your gut, so therefore you don't feel sick because there's nothing in your stomach. The next one you've got, at least I had, was dexamethasone. Dexamethasone is a steroid. For some reason it works with anti-sickness and it helps keep your appetite up, which is very important. Well, maybe not too important. I have put on 20 kilos in the last 2 years through eating through stress, so I don't think I need the help with my appetite. It's something I've always had, and when your oncologist says to you it's important that your weight doesn't drop, I'm like, oh, nom, 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 nom. You don't need to be like that. So just so you know, normal food is fine, normal amounts of food is fine. Plenty of fresh greens and plenty of, I think protein is very important. The reason being is that muscle wastage, because you're lying in bed all the time, is very important. I lost a lot of muscle mass, and it got to the point where it's tiring for me just to walk around the flat physically. Like, legs would ache, arms would ache from even just sitting up, eating dinner and stuff like that, because I'd lost so much muscle mass. But then again, I put it back on, so it's good. Weird flex, but okay. But the dexamethasone, that will stop you from sleeping. So you need to prepare for a few nights of your heart fluttering and you not being able to get any sleep. And that was the rough bit for me. Also hiccups. Hiccups are something to think about. Dexamethasone and ondansetron can cause hiccups. And it'll only be for a few days if you do get them. Not everyone does. I did, and it was to the point where I would sit up in bed and they would start. or if I managed to breathe too deeply, it would start. Oncologists initially thought it was due to the cancer that was in my lungs, irritating my diaphragm, but then I pointed out the fact it only happened when I was taking this medication, and he was like, funny that, isn't it? Side effects. But yeah, that's the medication you've got there that you'll be taking and some of the side effects. Also, the lack of sleep is absolutely turd because you will lie there and you will overthink. Here's what you do. If you struggle to sleep, give up. Sit up, read a book if you can, look at a screen if you can, bearing in mind you're going to feel really nauseous, so you may not be up for that. And that's something to really take into consideration. I had to turf my wife out of the bed. She had to sleep on the sofa. It's a sofa bed. And that was so that it was minimal movement, because I would toss and turn all night and I'd be uncomfortable and I would feel sick. On top of that, I get really stressed out. So I'm lying there, my heart's pounding, and at this point I didn't know if any of the chemo was working, if it was worth it, if I'm wasting my time, or if I'm literally just lying in bed dying. So for me, it worked, it kept it stable, so I guess there's that. Other medications that you have to take, they do also give you essentially Imodium to try and stop you from having diarrhea. I didn't suffer with that whatsoever, but there's something to keep an eye out for. Every time they're like, do you need this? I was like, no, I don't. I'm completely the other direction. So I also got given Dioctyl as well, which was designed to be a stool softener. Did not get on with very well with it. Senna was my boy. Something else you might have is going to be indigestion and heartburn, and this is caused by the chemo tablets. The reason why chemotherapy has all of these effects is because chemotherapy attacks fast-growing cells. Fast-growing cells include your hair, your nails, your stomach lining, and some other things as well. Your gametes, which is your reproductive cells. So that's one of the reasons why your fertility can be affected, your hair falls out, and you feel sick. It's not great. It really isn't great. So hair falling out, we'll move on to that one. Hair falling out. With me, this is what happened with me. It took me, well, 2 weeks. 2 weeks after my initial first chemo, before my hair started falling out. The first place it falls out. Parent warning: if my parents are watching, can you stop? I'm just going to be talking about bad stuff now, so don't watch. Stop. Goes for family as well. If you want to, I'll be talking about some intimate stuff. So here we go. You were giving a warning. Anyone else who might be of a weaker disposition and not really be interested in that kind of stuff, again, you should stop watching. But if you're about to go through chemotherapy, this is something you should probably consider, because you guarantee you probably didn't think about it. So, your pubes fall out first. This is important to know this happens. I was sitting there on the toilet having a poo, and I looked down and there was just a bunch of pubes sat there. I went, this is how it starts. My scalp then started to hurt. It was like, you know, if you have a really bad cowlick, and it's like, oh, that hurts. Almost to your hair follicles hurt. Felt a bit like that. And then hair started falling out. That wasn't great. Armpit hair, that goes as well. Chest hair for me didn't go. Your bum hair will go. Your leg hair will also start to fall out. But the way it works is that anything, the warmest places on your body, your hair's going to fall out from. My eyebrows didn't go. My beard thinned out, but it didn't completely fall out, which I was quite lucky with. But I did shave it all off. I shaved all my hair off because I didn't want to I didn't have patchy hair. I didn't want to look like that. So I felt that it needed to be done. So your hair's fallen out. It can be weird. Own it. My piece of advice, own it. And one of the reasons why I shaved my head was taking control, because you just shave it all off, you take control, and that way you know you've got no hair. It's your choice at that point. Get yourself a nice hat. Get yourself someone to make you a nice hat. My wife crocheted me 2 hats, so it was very nice of her. And wear them, make sure they're comfortable, and also don't worry about it. It's just hair. It will grow back. It is fine. It'll grow back slightly differently at the start. Mine initially grew back and it was pretty much black. But as you can see, we're pretty much grey and blonde now, which is what I was before. Beard's a nice ginger colour, like it was before. Plenty of grey. Pretty sure there's more grey than there was, but your hair will grow back. You do not need to worry about that. Nails, I got really lucky with. And skin condition as well, because your hands, skin on your hands and your feet will suffer. Your hands and feet will hurt. Something called neuropathy. or neuropathic pain, and it just causes your fingertips and your hands to hurt. And I still have that. I still have that now, and that's after 2 months with no chemo. And that's damage to your nerves, and that may or may not ever come back. Bearing in mind, at this point, for me anyway, I still can't feel half my face down here, like this. Can't feel this chest bit, can't feel my shoulder. No, can't feel that. So I can't really feel my fingertips, which makes tasks that involve some dexterity to be a little bit more difficult. So if you're into knitting or sewing, you might struggle with that. I don't do any of those things, but I do pick things up. Like I drop things sometimes. I think I've got them and I haven't. I'm like one of those claws in the fairground that drop stuff. Yeah, that's something to think about. And that for me has been the worst bits. One other thing I will say is that the sense of smell changing, that will change your, well, at least for me, very much subjective because not everyone gets everything. I couldn't stand the smell of cooking food at all. I actually couldn't stand the smell of my wife, which is really, really rough because my sense of smell changed. I couldn't stand the smell of myself even. My sweat smelled weird, and everything tasted wrong, and mouthwash tasted wrong, and brushing your teeth, toothpaste tasted wrong. Every single type of food that I had to eat tasted wrong. Everything, like absolutely everything. It made no sense. So everything smelled like onions, including my wife, even though she didn't smell like onions. We'd not have onions for a week, and I'd be like, well, I can smell onions. No, you can't, Joe. You can't smell them. And I had to re-drum this in, and things would make you like, just like the smell of washing as well. We had to change washing detergent because it didn't smell right. I had to change it so that I didn't, well, for me, it was important that I didn't make a negative association with clean washing. Weird stuff. But yeah, I did everything I could to try and avoid this stuff. But yeah, that's the ish, I guess, of some side effects from ECX chemo. Key side effect though, hopefully, will be for you is that it will kill cancer. That's the main one. One other thing it did do for me, which I'll stop talking in a minute, is my skin. Like, I've always had bad skin, always had bad skin. And for a while I had to use antibiotic ointment on my skin, on my nose, forehead, on my face. And the idea being is that it would stop me from having spots, or zits, or pimples, or whatever. And chemo started, immediately all my spots disappeared. Now I don't know if it's because it was killing off the bacteria on my skin, could do I guess, or it was suppressing my immune system enough that I would not have any reactions to it. But as soon as I came off chemo, bam, spots. Lots and lots of spots, really, really bad ones, and it was just a massive surprise. It was very much due to chemo stopped, spots came in, chemo starts, spots go away. I'm one to draw patterns and trends, and I can see that one there, so I think that's what caused that. So now I'm kind of fighting my skin again, which is great. But it is a minor inconvenience compared to feeling like absolute turd from your chemo. Also, when you finish chemo, within a week you'll feel like a different person. You won't be perfect, but you will feel like a different person. Yeah. But right, I'm going to do my usual asking. Please make sure that you do not leave me stupid comments telling me to try baking soda, or telling me that chemotherapy is really bad for you. Of course it's not good for you. Cancer's in your body, cancer is you. It's got to be bad for the cancer, it's going to be bad for you. But it is tailored to attack cancer cells. That's what it's there for. Same time, I will ask people to leave any religious comments out, because I'm not a religious man, I'm an atheist. I will argue with you, and please don't stress me out. It's the least thing that I need. And if you want to pray for me, cool, wicked, you do that. But I'd actually rather you prayed for starving children instead. That's what I'd rather you did. And world hunger got stopped. Because if it works, I'd rather that got rid of than my cancer. I'm not a selfish person. But yeah, I will continue to make these videos. I'm sorry for the long delay between them. I've been busy. Being away for 10 days, being on holiday and stuff was absolutely lovely. So that was really, really good. But yeah, I'm going to say, please do like, subscribe, and also share, because people may benefit from this. And that's what it's all about. That's what it is all about. I'm not doing this for fame, I'm not doing this for fortunes, I'm doing this to help people, and I really do genuinely hope it helps people. And also bear in mind, if you do have anaplastic thyroid cancer, the chances are you are much, much younger than I. Younger? Older. I am much, much younger than you. So my experiences may be different, I may bounce back quicker, and at the same time, people don't know what to expect with anaplastic thyroid cancer in young people because they don't get it. So, once again, I say thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.